Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Okay. So, although I am very honored to be nominated as secretary, I like really physically can't. I have like two arthritis and neurological disease. And when I had COVID last year, like it just made it so much worse. Yeah, so I would love to. I do take notes, but you guys are very, very thorough. And I think I would be a great disappointment.
Yeah, that's okay. We can talk about it when everyone's here.
Okay.
I know like for I think for this, we're just really looking for kind of a, general skeleton and then oops, sorry, I'm on my laptop. And yeah, I think I can help. Jeremy and I kind of shared it last year. It's just that he does a lot of the
Well, yeah, for school. Yeah.
no, he does a lot of the talking in this meeting because this is his
Oh, yeah.
wheelhouse. Like this is
So
his
that's
thing.
difficult. Yes.
It's just hard to be the chair and the secretary. Like it's hard to keep it all straight. But as long as no one is concerned with having overly detailed
Yeah.
meeting. And Troy, I think he reached out to everyone.
Yes. He can't make it today.
He he's
Yes.
going to try to be in and out, but he also is, I guess, doing yearbook this year, which is new, which is good.
Oh,
So,
okay.
let me see. I'm going to turn. Oh, here we go. Turn everybody up. And I know that this is like the first day back after a long weekend, so it might take people a little while to get in here. And that's why I was hoping my email had enough details because I am also at work, so I can only be here for an hour.
Oh gosh.
So this one, like it's good. It will make us efficient because I'll have to go back. So or they'll
Okay.
start opening the door and being like, "What are you doing?"
Oh my
So,
goodness. Yeah, I've been, in my new role with Friends of Jones, I could see how, I'm spending a lot more time in meetings than I did when I was the chair of the volunteers last year, even though now they have multiple people doing the job I did by myself.
mhm.
So that was a lot of actually communicating and emails, but this is being vice chair is really occupying a lot of my time. And, my freshman and my seventh grader are both neurodiverse learners. So
Mhm.
they need a lot of my attention and help when it comes to school. So yeah, they were bummed when they saw my schedule today. It's like when I'm done with this, I gotta get on the Friends of Jones meeting. And then I'm also a member of the Parent Board of Governors, and we have our first meeting with the new members this year. So yeah, I'll be in meetings
Yeah,
till
so
like
you're
9:30.
you're quite busy. How and your oh, here's Cassie. How is well, what we
Oh,
need,
it's Troy and Cassie.
but your being on the
Well,
computer doesn't affect your like it doesn't from having the symptoms that you're having.
um, I guess not. I don't know. It's hard to tell when you're used to living with visual disturbances and headaches. So it's like, is
Right.
it because I'm on the computer or it's just
Is that just
my
your new
new
normal?
normal?
Mhm. All right, Troy, myself, and Jeremy are here, so we could technically start. I'll do one more. I'll give one more minute. And Troy, I know you have to. Are you actually going to the meeting or you're?
Yeah, I'm going right now, so
Dude,
but I'm listening.
oh, you're going virtually?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Oh my goodness.
But
Okay.
I'm listening to everything that's going on.
Okay. Troy has yearbook, so he will be in and out for yearbook. So, okay, so I'm going to call the meeting to order at 3:17. And last meeting, we nominated our permanent members, and at this time, I'd like to nominate Raquel Don as a permanent member. Anyone seconds? Yeah. Anyone
I
want a
can
second?
second.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Hey,
And then I'm just gonna do a vote for that with our existing members, and then I'll do a roll call. I need to have Troy mute. Troy, can you mute? So Powers, is that a yay? Ma, yay, Voight.
Yay.
Okay, so that's 3, and I'm not gonna, well, Troy, do you want to vote on that? He's too busy. I'll just let him walk around. And I'm gonna just do a roll call for the meeting. Troy is here-ish. Raquel,
Here.
I'm here. Dr. Powers
Here.
and Mr. Boyd.
Here.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Do a roll call. Don
Here.
Hildebrands, I'm gonna just give him Powers.
Yes.
Ma, yes. Boyd.
Yay.
Okay, so we approve the agenda. I want to make a motion to approve the minutes from the August 2nd meeting. Do you have a
Second.
second? Thank you. Don?
What, am I voting? I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can abstain, you can vote, or you can vote.
Approve.
Okay. I'm Powers,
Yes.
Maz, yes. Voight.
Yes.
Okay, so we approve the minutes. Okay. Just an FYI, and I know you all have a lot to do too. I have to go back to work at 4:15, so I'm going to be as efficient as possible. Jeremy, thank you for uploading the documents. I'm going to share a link to Jeremy's uploads. So let me share.
And I just added one with some notes on changes to that budget for how we funded the AP position.
Okay. Sorry, I'm on my laptop and I'm so used to using my mouse that my finger mouse is very inefficient. Okay, this folder is a link to all documents monthly that Jeremy will upload. And if we open 09, which is September, sorry, I'm trying to get back to my. And you said, Jeremy, that you sent a new. Can you link to the file you're talking about in the chat about the
Yeah.
how we're praying for the AP?
So it should be in the budget documents, and it is FY22 budget. But I can put a link in. I just have to find it on my laptop because I'm
Budget.
working through two different. There we go.
It's in my FY22 budget.
It's in the spot you just described.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry. Also music school, so very entertaining in the background. Okay. And that's in FY22 and in the Voight uploads? I don't see that.
I thought so. Let me try again here. So I have void uploads.
Yeah.
Then the 21-09, I put it in the 09.
Oh,
Then
budget documents,
Budget documents, yep.
FY22.
2022.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I will share.
I just shared it in the chat too.
Right. Does anyone need me to screen share, or can everyone just click through in the
sorry.
chat? Okay, I'll assume you. I'm gonna screen share for the sake of the recording. Share screen. Share this guy. Okay. Okay. You want to walk us through this?
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to walk through. When we looked at how are we going to reopen that position, I first started by looking to see what might be on our regular and benefit pointer lines, which is where all positions are funded through. And there was a bunch of money there. So first I reached out to CPS and said, why do we have this money on there when we just balanced with our Hyperion budget? She said she didn't know, but it was all legit, that it's there for a reason, and she was going to look into it. I think that was Jen Fletcher that I talked with. I never heard back from her as to why. So we opened the position, and that's what's left after opening it.
So you, even after paying that, you still have 11,000.
Yep. Well, yeah, we did. We've used maybe 2,500 or so on some purchases like furniture for new staff and things like that.
Okay. Oh, I guess I didn't know we could use SBB for furniture, but
A lot of schools operate solely on SBB. They don't get fees.
yes, yeah, I'm just not from that. I haven't lived that experience yet. Okay, so when we go to on Tuesday, I could just say that this money was there. There's really no. It's
There
not due
isn't
to
it.
enrollment.
No, and I'm trying to think of a way to show more than just on this spreadsheet, but there really isn't. I mean, I could export things from Oracle, but it's not, it's going to be messy and it's not quite straightforward, really.
Yeah, as long as it wasn't money that was supposed to be for a specific use like special ed or.
No, it was in a completely different budget line area.
Yeah,
Part
we
of it
can't-
is probably based on our estimate of replacement costs for teachers. In other words, we budget based on lane 2, step 2 as kind of a standard. And for example, one of our teachers is lane 1, step 1. Another one is lane 1, step 2, I think, or something like that. In other words, spread out over approximately 9 or 10 people. It came in a good deal lower than the average of lane 2, step 2 on the scale. So that's probably a factor involved here.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was part of your appeal because I thought that SBB money was just X dollars per kid plus the 80-10 money for the special options positions.
Yeah, the appeal was actually for a position, and we
Okay.
got the position, but that's completely separate from our discretionary budget.
Also, things like special ed teachers are funded from a different, they're actually 114, so it wouldn't be, the two would never meet, so that money could definitely not be from that. All those positions that we had, they were all opened with Hyperion, and then this is still money on top of that. So it's not like we closed or, that money couldn't be on that budget line unless we had closed something, which we did not do. And then-
Okay, well, don't ask too many questions or they'll take it away.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Okay, all right, well, that is easy. I'm gonna stop screen sharing so I can go back to my agenda really quickly. I guess that's great news. So, yay. Okay, where am I? Okay, so internal accounts review budget amendment. Do we want to talk about any of your check requests? There was, that's that first link I put in the chat. If you click on the date of, sorry, I'm used to having a much bigger screen. So if you click on check approvals over 2,400 under the September folder, there's a trainer, which is kind of a quarterly thing.
So that changed, which
Okay.
is a little frustrating. I think CPS is still working out the negotiations with ATI. And so while they're working on that, they have requested from them that it be, and also because of the pandemic, I think they're requesting that they send us monthly invoices now instead of quarterly. Or yeah, seasonally, I should say. It's because we don't pay a summer quarter. But so it used to be we would pay fall sports, winter sports, spring sports. Then all of a sudden this $2,500 requisition showed up for just August. And when I inquired further, ATI said, yes, that's because CPS and we are still negotiating. They want us to invoice on a monthly basis now until it gets sorted out. And because the pandemic may throw everything in chaos again, and then they don't want to be paying for a full fall season if we're ending sports on October 1st, for example. Like last year, I think a lot of schools lost money because they paid for a full season and then we only had partial seasons.
And
So that's
that,
why that has changed. And I'm sorry, and I believe the whole year they intend to do it monthly. So you may be saying that invoice every month.
and that contract is a Jones ATI contract or a CPS ATI contract?
Both. It starts with CPS, meaning we're not going to do business with you until we negotiate the terms of our partnership. And then we sign a contract. I think we have a signed contract with them now, but it's basically doesn't mean anything unless CPS has them on board.
Okay. But we didn't sign a new one. That would have been a,
No, I think we did.
okay.
For this year.
And that said, was it, do you, off the top of your head, do you remember the dollar amount for the year?
It's 25 grand for the entire year, and
Okay,
that's
okay.
their max that they can ask for, which is probably why it is that amount. And
Convenient.
so split over 10 months, that's why you're seeing it as 2,500.
Okay.
One other check, that code HS one, that's been going back and forth, and I'm a little confused right now as to if CPS has covered this. And I don't know if Dr. Powers, have you heard more? I've been on email strings back and forth with Cindy Lalagan, who is our computer science department chair. And they are providing what the teachers need right now. And there was a lot of mention of CPS covering that, but it's not clear to me whether we're still supposed to pay this fee. So I'm kind of waiting to hear from her as to if this is still needing to be approved. So I'm kind of putting it on the radar, but I haven't put a check requisition in there yet. I'm waiting to hear back from her.
Correct.
You don't have
So,
any
It's
more
still in,
Dr. Powers,
still
right?
in limbo. Yeah.
so may be covered by CPS,
Maybe.
question mark.
It seems odd to me that that would be the case, but that's what this email string is implying.
Right.
If nothing else, it could change the amount. So we're gonna not do the requisition just yet until we know more details, I think.
And I'm sorry if and it's for science,
Computer science.
computer science. And it's not something that we budgeted for.
I don't believe it was in the
It,
budget.
I didn't see code HS, but I thought maybe
It
it was
was-
called something
It was
different.
originally a no cost to the school
Oh,
program, and then everything changed with its relationship with CPS and with SOPA was a factor in there as well, if I'm not mistaken. I met with the computer science teaching group and well, the whole computer science and engineering team, and we went over that, and they're trying to get CPS to re-up this essentially, is what it comes down to, so we can continue with it, at least in the short term, so that the students can continue with what they're doing already and the planning, but trying to get it to where we can continue with that programming, because
okay.
it really meets the needs well of that part of our computer science programming.
Okay. All right, let me go to back to that. So I'll be in touch with you on Tuesday, I guess, Jeremy, to,
Yeah, there could be things added before the 14th.
okay. And then this parking one for June, are we done doing that then? What-
No, that's also a monthly requisition. So this, I have the opposite problem. I don't yet have the invoice, but that's what the invoice total should be for 31 Parkers. Our parking is always changing because especially right now, we're getting different staff added or dropped every day. Somebody just came down and told me today, I'm not going to park now. So I have to adjust that with Legacy, but this is a monthly amount. So we charge our staff for parking a yearly annual fee, and all of those fees go toward paying this off-site parking.
And is it exactly 1-to-1 so we don't lose money, or
No, it is not.
so what percent are we gifting?
It depends on how many people park, but let's call it 120 parkers at 200 each. That's 24,000. we end up paying them 40, 30 times 10, about 40,000. So yeah, we lose about 16.
Okay, so really, if we were gonna put it in the budget for the spring, we'd budget approximately 16K for parking.
Yeah, but I think we take it out of our parking rental, or we did in the past.
I see.
But you're right, I don't believe it's on the spreadsheet.
Right, and we don't, okay, we don't have rental. Well, maybe we do have rental. Hi, Troy. Okay.
Well, you're saying currently we don't have rental. We do we in the past have always had parking rental, and I don't know if it's scheduled to start back up or if we're only going to get building rental back, and Troy might know more about what kind of rentals are coming back, but it's
okay,
not funded through student fees, is I guess my point.
right.
If it didn't come from rental, it would come from parking rental, it would come from building rental or somewhere else like that.
Okay, so I'm just gonna make a note covered by rental and sorry, Screencastify was in the budget.
I believe so.
My computer.
Was there a question about rentals?
Yeah, but we can wait if you're busy.
No, the students they wanted to lead the meeting, so I'm just there as dead weight. So, but I can. The part that I did here is rentals. The in buildings rentals have not been approved yet by CPS, but things like the track have been approved, and those seem to be pretty steady. We have one that's coming from the Chicago Soccer Foundation. I just got to finalize the details with them today, and but other than that, it's we're still waiting on approval from CPS.
So we don't have any parking rentals.
Parking rentals is based on the only one that we have are churches, and since they're not meeting again, I anticipate that will be put on hold until they meet up again.
Okay. And Screencastify, oh, thank you, Troy, Troy. Screencastify was in the budget, that matches, that was 2,500. And do you have any idea of what might be added before Tuesday, Mr. Voigt?
Just the invoice from Legacy, and then I need clarification on if we're paying this code HS.
Okay.
Beyond that, nothing I've heard about, but that doesn't mean that it couldn't happen still.
Right.
I
I
mean,
heard some
guess,
good.
do you want me to be pushing new check requisitions to October meeting, or?
No, just let me know.
Yeah,
like,
I
especially if
assume
it's
you want me to get them in before the 14th if I can.
Yeah, or just text or like just shoot me like, hey, I added some.
Okay.
Because sometimes I write the minutes the night before,
Right.
and just to be for efficiency. Okay.
Sorry, I gotta grab my door. 1 second.
Sure. While he's grabbing his door, Dr. Powers, would you mind giving an update on the MFT
Sure,
plan?
sure. Right now, we're developing plans for both the use of both MFT and OST funds. They do cross over quite a bit in terms of their application. Right now, the bulk of what we're going to be doing is devoted to professional development, stipends for teachers, especially under the OST umbrella for after school or out of school times. We're working on partnerships with with outside vendors for SAT for grade 11 and PSAT for grades 9 and 10. We just got word of a Kaplan program that is completely free of charge to our juniors taking the PSAT and MSQT in October. So we're going to be getting that information out. That's no cost to the school. And so it should be a great opportunity for our kids that way. But we'll be raising that up. Right now, we're going to be presenting on the 17th, the overall OST plan to the faculty and staff, and in enlisting them in terms of some of the programs that they want to do after school hours. primarily academic support, but they could be lots of other different things as well. And of course, we're hoping that OST funding will be the portion of all this that continues on an annual basis. That seemed to be the implication of it during the budget time, whereas the MFT funding seems to be just this year. But right now, we're still building what that's going to be. We have some of the MFT funds established, how we're going to do that in our plans, and we'll be reporting on those next week.
And that was something that was reviewed by the ISP chief, or did you get feedback on that, or?
Yes, we did. Yeah, our plan
Okay.
was given a green light, yeah.
Okay, and then you'll share that with the LSC on Tuesday?
What we're going to be doing on Tuesday is sharing a portion of the overall moving forward together plan. We're going to focus on our SEL and our climate and culture related initiatives, and then hold on the CIWP and the annual report for the October LSC meeting. And that way we spread that out a little bit, trying not to get it all involved in one evening.
Okay. And are you interviewing for the climate and culture position?
We have a meeting on Thursday for our interview team. We'll be tweaking the job description. It is posted. We have applicants, and we will be kind of making our decisions on Thursday, how we're going to move forward the following week with the description and with the actual interviews and the setup times and so forth. But we are
Okay.
getting some interest, which is very, very gratifying. We've had several applicants.
Okay. Thank you. I had a question for Jeremy, which was there, I'll look through the documents and I'll reach out if I have any questions about the chart of accounts or anything.
Okay.
And I'm assuming we had started school, it's taken up everyone's time, and I think you and I can work on the actual end of fiscal year 21 actuals versus budgeted later.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little early to get all the numbers you're looking for. So I just got the August statement today, and the reconcile won't be due until the 20th. So
Maybe October is a better time to maybe.
it could be, but yeah, you and I should discuss exactly what you're looking for, because
Okay.
are you looking for actuals with fees, or, again, these aren't reports we usually, everything's in the chart of accounts. So whatever everything increased would have been different from what it was last month. So we can try and discuss if there's a specific kind of report you want of that, but it's not something CPS shows outside of the chart of accounts, really.
Yeah, it's just to help with planning for next year. So,
Okay.
all right, going back to my agenda. I had another question for Dr. Powers. The school's got, I don't know, 18,000 or something to do a back to school party, or I don't know.
That was put in our budget line for us. I really don't know. I think a lot of that was intended for before school starting, having school bashes and things like that. It really isn't all that applicable to us. Our attendance has been excellent. It's still sitting there. I mean, we can try to find ways to spend it that are relevant to back to school related things. For example, we're going to start planning for homecoming, which we have not had, of course. And it might be something that we could utilize some of those funds related to homecoming.
Yeah, I mean, I'm wondering that maybe the teachers have some ideas of way to engage students in multiple ways. So I don't know when you said the 17th. It's the next meeting you have?
We have a meeting on the 17th, but that's specifically for the OST programming. It's professional development for that. But we can.
I'm sure if you asked the kids what you wanted to do with the money, they would have some great ideas.
Well, they might, but it's got to be relevant to whatever the stipulations were there. And again, I think most of it was to recruit the kids to come back to school, which really wasn't, a concern of ours. It was in the sense that we reached out to individual students, made sure that people were being communicated with, they knew when school was starting, offering assistance and that sort of thing. But we will look into that further. I don't want to, I hate to leave money on the table, but also I don't want to waste the district's money if it's something that we don't really need. If we can put it to good use for, for example, something related to, we are not going to do in-person class meetings, for example. We normally by this time would have scheduled probably one last week and a couple this week for our grades 9 through 12. But we're not doing that in person because of having a large group of kids all in one spot, for 15, 20, 30 minutes. So we're going to be doing those remotely and giving the kids the updates that way, at least for now. And there may be some things related to that. For example, Thursday is senior takeover day, and there may be maybe some of those resources I could use to help support the seniors in their celebration of returning to school after all this time.
Yeah, just I never want to give money back. I don't consider it wasting. So I know you're going to get asked that question on Tuesday, so that's kind of like a softball. So maybe have some more ideas for what we could use that for. OST plan. Yeah, anything you can share with us, with me, and I could share it with the LSC that before Tuesday would be great.
We'll see what we can pull together by the end of the week.
Even what even the saying, even what was approved, like, oh, this is what we presented and this is what approved. I think that the LSC has been waiting to see that, and I would like to, if possible, get it to them by Sunday night so they have 2 days to look at it. Or it's some slides, anything.
See what we can do.
So it's not the 10th day yet, but what's enrollment looking like?
Enrollment is slightly below our projected. In other words, yes, I see your message, Cassie. Thank you. It was we were projected at 1970. We're slightly below that. I think we're at 1966 today. So we will not have any additional funds coming to us, but we will be held harmless. So we will not be losing any. And we are pretty much working at capacity. Ideally, while it's nice to get additional funds in October, ideally, it's like your income taxes. You want to have your withholding in such a way that you neither owe anymore nor are you getting refunds. In our situation, if we can break even after the 20th day, that is fine. We will this year, and we're going to try and plan for that next year so that we don't find ourselves. I don't know how much longer CPS is going to do the hold harmless portion of it. But they have for several years. Could change under new administration.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, there was a time when we started SBB that we had to give back, and that was as few as one student, and so there was no margin. And I think the most we ever had to give back on was like 10 students, and that was quite a few years ago.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem fair that you'd be firing teachers because you didn't have proper enrollment. So.
Right, and that's why when we do our budget planning, we don't plan to have more money coming to us in the fall. That's just it's too much of an imponderable, and I think all the CPS schools are suffering from students withdrawing, and either people relocating out of the city, moving away, going to non-public schools. We're seeing a lot of movement in that direction. So we've lost a lot. We started off with basically 2,000 kids, and it has shrunk by 30, 35 students so far.
Okay, I thank you, Dr. Powers. I have 3 things that I want to just cover in the last half hour. One is the doc, that one I don't want to do first. The one thing I want to do first is, Jeremy, in your folder, you put all these budget transfers. Do you want to talk about all these budget transfers? No.
The book transfers are pre-approved things. So Chromebook order was already approved by the LSC, venture card payment was already approved by the LSC, and yearbook contract was approved by the LSC. So those are pretty straightforward. It's just moving money from our internal accounts money to a CPS budget line so that a purchase order can be created. Budget transfers are various things, and it could be a bigger amount, like I'm looking at what some of these are. So this one's 225. This happened today. It was moving some of that surplus money we just discussed that was left over after paying for the extra AP to, this one went to a software line to buy a video analysis software for the science department. It was $225. So it's like, there's money right now. I think it was about 11,000 that was left over from CPS's money that they have on position lines. We're not going to pay for a position, obviously, with $11,000. So we're just making little transfers here and there to a software or a supply line or something like that. None of them are over 2,500, so they don't require LSC approval. They're just transfers. Does that answer?
Yes, I'm going to share one because I have a question, like, just so I can, if I had explained to somebody else, I could.
Mhm.
The one that I'm sharing right now was a transfer for 2198.68.
Mhm.
How do I know?
So
what-
the first column where it says from budget line,
Mhm.
that's showing you, and then if you look at the far left column, the segment name,
Yes.
excuse me, that's showing you the unit number 47021. The fund is 115 or SBB funds. The account number pertains to what kind of stuff we're buying, so, or what kind of, yeah.
I see.
So that's a benefit pointer line, which would be like our salary benefits line. That's where the money is coming from. And then on the other side, in the right column, it's showing you where it's going to. We can't use it on that benefits pointer line because we're not going to be able to pay for a position with what's left in that budget line. So it's getting moved to a furniture line. The program is always the same for benefit pointer line. It's that salary program. Student-based budgeting is the grant. That's the same. The program on the 2 budget line is high school support. That's just kind of a generic general program number.
Yeah, no, I mean, you answered my, so
Yeah,
really I'm
so it's
looking at
showing
the
you
account.
The
and-
from
and-
and the to, and it's showing you amount at the top, 2,198. And then the justification is my wording as to why we're doing it.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Just so that I can, when I share the budget documents with the LSC, I can at least give them a little bit of background of what they're looking at. And then I have to make a decision in the minutes if that's something, Cass and I could talk about. Do we want to list all just itemize the budget transfers or just link to this folder?
Yeah, and if you want something more added to the justification, I can certainly do that. I mean, like, this is furniture specifically. I believe this was a desk for one of our labs is changing, and some office chairs for new staff. So I don't know how detailed you want that justification to be, I guess is my question, or my comment. It's not really a question.
Yeah, I think it's probably okay. And if something was a red flag, I would reach out to you. I don't need to track every chair, that you're buying.
And then you'll see some of them are just tinier amounts. Like I think there was one for 97 cents. Yeah, that's on September 1, ends in 20902. That's just an error. I think I must have transcribed 2 numbers or something. So I had to do another transfer to get a little bit more moved over. So some of them are really dumb and minuscule like that.
Oh, all right. That was the one thing. The other thing, while I have all your brain power here, is to click on the link in the chat. And I asked Troy to put this together. So we need to bring to the LSC on Tuesday language that we can approve, so that when we get back to in-person rentals, we kind of have more of a blanket approval for rentals, and we don't have to approve every contract. It's more that the LLC gave approval of contract types for that year. So, okay, Troy's now walking around. This is a bad time for you to talk about this, Troy. It's okay. We can go through it.
In a minute, yeah, I can.
Okay. And I felt like there was one more thing. Oh, no, my only other thing was just the training. Raquel was an LSC member in her previous life, so she's done these budget trainings before, but I did put a link in my email so that anyone could review that if they had just questions. I look at it often. Yes. Cassie, why don't you do your public comment now so that then we can wait for Troy when he's ready to talk about his rental.
I just had a question about the meeting that Dr. Powers mentioned on the culture and climate position. Have the 2 LSC members that are supposed to be involved in this process been alerted to that and invited?
Yeah,
I just asked them and they said they didn't know about it, Rachel and Deborah.
I'll check with Mr. Mitchell then on that.
Okay, because they haven't been informed and we really want them to be.
I understand what you're saying. Yes, I'll check and make sure they're informed.
Thanks so much.
Okay. Quickest public comment ever. I'm going to go back to Troy's document. So it looks like we have film agreements, which is one type, for-profit agreements and nonprofit agreements. I need his clarification of why those are separate, but
Go ahead.
Go ahead,
unless
Jeremy.
you want to answer, Jeremy.
No, Troy knows. I was only going to jump in because I thought he was not hearing the question. I just know that in the past, there's been a different tier for those two organizations of whether they're for-profit or not for profit. Is that right, Troy?
Yeah, pretty much. So you could have like you could have MGM ask for a rental, and then you could have Columbia, our art student, ask for a rental for film. So there is a difference between the two. That's what
Okay.
you're referring to, right?
Yeah. I'm just thinking like, how are those, how are the rental amounts determined? Is that something that CPS Legals determines? Like you can rent the space for $3,000, like how market value or?
So it depends on the subject of the rental. So for the theater, it's basically based on the seats. So for example, I did a survey when I first started of different theaters within the area and kind of like the accommodations that they would have. But in turn, essentially turned out to be just the rental was almost based on the seat number. So for example, the auditorium theater might be $15,000 and it's, I think 3,000 seats. So with that in mind, I based our rental on the average, which is like $200 an hour for just the basics. And then it's kind of a la carte. So when I was filling out this form, it was kind of not really a straightforward thing because every school is different. Every group is different. There's elements that maybe, they don't really apply to them, or maybe it's an add-on that I could easily put on there. For like example, the churches might be $2,000, but they want parking, so I include that in it. Whereas if they were just asking for the parking, I would price that out separately. And it also depends on the production for the films. We've had some that were $18,000, and that was three days of usage. And I think our overtime calculated to like something like $6,000. So that added into it. There's a lot of different factors that I kind of pull in based on the type of rental, who they are. And the great thing is that I've had a long working relationship with a lot of them. So I've gotten to know them. Although the prices have pretty much kind of stayed the same. That's probably going to be changing this year as we move towards an online platform.
Is this online platform, it's a CPS online platform. And
Yeah.
then are you, I'm sorry if I didn't really understand, is it more like you like check these certain boxes and then it's additive? Or is it just kind of like these movie companies come in and like, oh, we can pay 20K, and then that kind of sets the market price, or?
Um, yeah, I mean, if you were to ask a location scout, they would basically give you an 8-hour block and kind of give you an idea of like how much it's going to cost. Another factor that plays into it is how invasive are they going to be to the school? Is it going to interrupt programs, or is it on a weekend where nothing's going on? And that kind of plays into it as well. Although moving forward, I'm pretty sure that CPS won't allow us to have any filming going on during any time there's students within the building.
That is definitely correct.
Okay.
Even if it's in an isolated part of the building and the students aren't around. We've already gone through that process, so.
Yeah,
And-
go ahead.
I'm not trying to be vague on this. It's really kind of a la carte on so many these different things. And it's just based on what we've done in the past, and kind of feeling out the individual organization, if they're willing. I'd rather have some kind of income coming through. So if a church can only afford 1,800 opposed to 2,000, I'm going to try to work with them to make sure that we can accommodate to some degree. Maybe we're shaving off some time here and there, or, maybe I don't know what it might be. Maybe there's an amenity that's removed. So it really kind of all depends on what they're using, when, and for how long.
And let's say teachers also, let's say the school needs this facilities, like, is there a facility use management tool that, so that
No.
so how do teachers say they like, oh, I need a room for, I have a club, or I don't know, how does that work? Like if clubs need rooms, or?
So I mean, school gets priority over everything. So usually when it comes, and it's mostly just clubs. So clubs will submit their form every year, and I'll look at the rooms that they're going to be in. And typically there's only a few clubs that kind of are in big areas like the theater or the gym. But even that is very few and far between. But typically, if a teacher is like, "Hey, I have something going on," a great example is the math team is teaming up with CCML, which is the City of Chicago Math League, and they're going to be trying to do an event on the 2nd. So that would be considered an internal, and they just pay for the staff that would be needed to cover the space.
Sarah, is your question more so how do the teachers keep their space reserved when they need it?
Yeah, or like if you had this math event, or if like I wanted to do something extra and I'm like, oh, I need a room.
There's a facilities calendar that Troy
Okay.
keeps track of, and
Oh, yeah.
ideally the teachers should be putting in a request with him. Like the theater, for example, obviously he needs a ton of time in the actual auditorium when they're about to put on a production. So they should be blocking all that out with Troy. It doesn't always work the way we want it to, and sometimes they come to him at the last minute and say, no, we have a show tomorrow night, and he's known nothing about it. But right, Troy?
That's like a
Dr.
Google
Powers?
form. It's a Google form or something.
Yeah, it's a Google Calendar that's shared with all the teachers. And there's actually 3 different calendars that I manage. It's the AB calendar, the internal, and then there's the external facing. So like anytime there's an event that's happening, I'll post it on there. We also have a form that for the larger groups, for like BSU or the theater department, they kind of all feed into their dates on the spreadsheet. And so I base it on that. A lot of them are pretty static. I don't get too many that are last minute. A lot of the clubs usually stay in their room with their sponsors. On the occasion, I think the Asian American Club will ask for like the rooftop and make sure that nothing else is going on. So it's kind of like they'll just start the request with just an email to me. I'll confirm that they've gotten it approved by administration and that their sponsor is aware of the request.
Okay. All right. I think I need to thank you for putting out kind of like a generalized categories of types of rentals. And I think I need to put together some language for a motion. Troy, if you could provide for me the process, it can be very simple, but it's like, what is the process for rental? I think that should be in here so that it shows the steps. And you said that everything, no matter what, is the LLC. Why are we approving this, right? The CPS is approving this, but this kind of the showing all of the levels of approval for rentals. I think that's important to have in here because then it does show that it's a robust process already.
Mhm. I don't know how that. I mean, I'll put something together, but keep in mind that's probably going to change because once this online form becomes available, at this point I have no idea like how they're actually going to do it. I got a really like short overview of like what they intend to have within the system. The things I've seen in the past is basically I set up key players and then CPS gets notified based on the next steps. So that could be as early as October.
Okay, so the online form might come in October. Okay.
Yeah.
I would think that's the general process would be similar. I mean, like the approvals. Who has to approve would be similar. I don't know. So let me look at this. Let me talk to Cassie about what she had in mind for kind of a blanket approval. And then if we have questions, we'll get with you before Tuesday.
Do you want like a flow chart? Would that be a little bit better?
I love flow charts. Yes.
Okay. Well, I can see if I can just pull something together for that.
Okay. And if we have to amend it, it's fine. I just would rather get it approved. So if we're allowed to have rentals, you're not feeling like we are a roadblock in that.
I have a question.
Yes.
When you're saying it's going to an online platform, does it mean that school will now lose control over that? So anyone wanting to rent the school will have to go through CPS's form online? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. They'll have to go through the form online. We're a pilot program. We're among 18 schools, I think, that were approved to kind of take the lead on this. And going forward, depending on their pricing scale is really weird. I have to look at it again, but a lot of those costs are going to probably be carried over to the renter or the user that's requesting the space. But yes, to answer your question, they basically won't be, I won't have to like create a license agreement or initiate a conversation with different departments. They'll have like, I'm assuming the kind of a checklist of, once I complete a form, they're going to be notified that something's available for their review, and the risk management may have to look into it. Dr. Powers might have to look into it. And then usually, depending on what kind of rental it is, it may have to get certain levels of approval. Sometimes it goes all the way up to the chief network office to get approval.
Okay. Well, this sounds like we could potentially be losing money in that arena. But then I don't know, maybe because of the prices, maybe that'll offset it. So hopefully it ends up being a good thing. But you said it's a pilot program, so hopefully they'll hear feedback, and if it's good, continue. Not just go back to the old ways.
Well,
thank
I
you.
don't think that's going to happen
Oh,
because
okay.
I was basically, when Dr. Powers and I were talking about what are the options, and essentially they take 10% of the profit for, and that's after like we pay out our staff for the event. And what I already know is going to happen is this program won't take into account, when I overlap different programs or different events, I'm calculating how many people we need realistically to cover certain events. And I don't think it's going to be able to divide that and split it into the ways that I split it already. But when he and I were talking, Dr. Powers and I were talking about this, we were essentially told, do the program or do the program later because it's coming no matter what we
Felt
want.
like we could have some input this way.
Yeah.
Okay,
If things
okay.
don't work as well. And also they're to a degree, they're selling this as we're taking a lot off of you to handle it this way. And that perhaps we might even see an increase in volume of rentals. I'm not exactly sure how that would happen, but it could simplify things.
Well,
And
hopefully.
it would be nice. I mean, but
Yeah.
there's very little that CPS does that simplifies, but it might in this case. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, that's all I had for today. I'll put a slide together for Tuesday and then I'll work on the language for a motion for rentals. And Ms. Jeremy, I'll just reach out to you if I have any questions. But Dr. Powers, please send any MFT plan you can beforehand. Okay, much appreciated. Any other things before we adjourn at 4:09? Our next meeting is October 4th at 3:15.
Very good.
Okay, thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.